made this list of 5 things that are really overrated for me. And I thought this was perfect for this episode because the first thing on that list is books. We've been talking a lot today about books and writing and clinging to books. And I think for much of my life, I overrated books. I want to be clear about what that is. And I'll talk about these other things I think are overrated too. But I am all for reading. I don't think reading is overrated. But the physical artifact, the book itself, I prized over the reading. If I have the book, it makes me look smart. If I have the book, it is the potential for reading. It has all the information in it. But of course, the information being in a book is useless to me if I don't read the book, right? I would also say that in some way, books, we venerate them maybe unnecessarily. There are a lot of bad books out there, a lot of unhelpful books out there. And we also force ourselves to finish books that we dislike because we don't understand the sunk cost fallacy of I've already read 50 pages and I guess I have to slog through the rest of it.
Well, we're completionists also.
Yeah, read an econ book.
You can't have a beginning without an end. It's, I totally have done that before where I'm like, I'm already halfway through it. I got to finish it.
Like maybe it'll get better if I keep reading.
Right.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah. And so I think for me, books, and this is just for me, books have been overrated because it's not that a book is more virtuous or better than watching a series or playing a board game. I don't generally do either one of those things, but I don't want to put books simply on a pedestal. I enjoy the act of reading. And whether that's a book or it is an article from a magazine or it's a quarterly review like the Paris Review, which I'll hold up here. This is going to be on our added value segment later in the episode. I'm going to read my favorite poem to you. It's much more about the act of reading itself than it is about the accumulation of books.
So you really are one of those folks who buys Playboy just for the articles.
David Foster Wallace wrote a really great essay in Playboy magazine back in, I think it was 95, 96.
No.
And I never actually read it in Playboy, but it's in one of his books. I think it's in... it's called Big Red Sun is the name of the essay. I think it was in Consider the Lobster. Anyway, in that case, I would have.
Yeah.
I'd still look at the pictures, though. All right, couple more things that I've found to be overrated. I've always thought that flippers while swimming, totally overrated.
Yes.
If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments about any of these as well. I'm eager to know because... I remember as a kid, I swam like a fish as a kid, but as soon as I put flippers on, I almost drowned every time.
I did the same exact thing, man. So yes, the flippers that aren't made specifically for swimming, they're just like aesthetic.
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree. They are overrated. I will also say though that like Mariah and I, we went scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef. And the flippers were extremely helpful, like underneath that water. But the thing is that like diving flippers, they are so long and they look so goofy. And like you would never actually show up at a public pool with these like, because they make you an extra 2 feet long. You'd just be taking up the whole pool.
Smacking people in the face.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I do agree. Like the ones that we got as kids, it was just like, it was total aesthetics. And yes, it almost probably killed us more than it helped us.
All right. So good to know. Flippers for the swimming pool, bad. Flippers for scuba diving, good in your estimation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Here's another thing I
Yeah.
discovered to be overrated recently. Instagram, the app itself.
Yeah, I'm starting to get kind of sick of it myself, man.
And I spent over a week off of it while I was gone. And I realized like, oh, that twitch of what is going on. I twitch for my DMs for some reason, which they're barely even, it's not like 100 people are messaging me a day. It's like a dozen. So like, it's not like.
You're like, who slid in today?
And because it's essentially just a text messaging thread at that point.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you get caught up in all the other things. It's like when you go to the grocery store and all of a sudden you're at the checkout aisle and you start grabbing all these impulse purchases. Instagram is the impulse purchase of the social media world.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we go to it for one thing, or we just go to our phone in general, if you have Instagram on your phone, you start, oh, I'm going to go here. Oh, just for a second, I'm going to go here. Oh, what do they have to say? Oh, I'm going to check her story real quick. Oh, yeah. What about there's a message in my DMs. Wait a minute. 45 minutes has passed
What's
now.
happened? Yeah.
What has happened? I'm in the Bermuda Triangle of social media. I'm careening from my DMs to the Instagram Reels to the Instagram photos to the Explore page, and I just get stuck in that Bermuda Triangle. And so Instagram can add value to people's lives. I'm not saying that it can, but it is certainly overrated for me. And just spending 1 week away from it, and I generally don't even have it on my phone, but I had it on my phone for a while because we were posting these reels, and I didn't want to keep deleting it every time. But then I realized, oh, I can actually post straight from a desktop computer now as well. That didn't used to be a feature. And so now I can do that, and I don't have to worry about having the app on my phone. It's much calmer without it. Professor Sean.
Pro tip, you can create a script in your browser to block the Explore page. So if you click on it, it's just blank.
Oh, that's so
No
sassy.
search box, nothing.
Decluttering the Explore page.
Do you guys ever do this? Like the other day, I was expecting a text message from someone. So like I went to go check my text messages. But the first thing I did is I was like, oh, I'll go to Instagram first. And then I'm like, what am I doing? Like I literally came here to check my text messages, and I've been on Instagram for now 10 minutes. And I haven't even checked my text messages yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And you forget why you went to your phone in the first place. You went there for some reason.
Yeah. Not Instagram.
And then you ended up doing something completely different than your initial intention. And so it's a distraction. And it prevents us from doing the things that feel more meaningful to us. We were talking earlier about sitting in the chair doing the writing without distractions. Instagram is an easy way to distract yourself. Imagine if every time, instead of going to Instagram, every time you just wrote a sentence, how that would accumulate over the course of 1 year. Or forget even writing. What if you just read a paragraph? You went to the Kindle app on your phone, and I did this initially when I got rid of Instagram. I replaced where it was on my phone with the Kindle app. So as I impulsed for the app, I actually would just open up Kindle, and I'm already here. I might as well read a paragraph.
Yeah, you can gain a lot of ground, by the way, paragraph at a time. That's a thing that's underrated. How far you can go reading one paragraph at a time. Man. Hey, just a quick word about rating. Usually when we talk about things being overrated, there are three categories, right? There's overrated, there's underrated, and then we rarely speak about the third category, which is, I'll say, healthfully rated. And I think it's easy for people to hear overrated as a synonym for hated. If we say something is overrated, that means we hate it. We think it's evil and you shouldn't do it. Overrated just means, you know what? There's some room for us to extricate ourselves from this thing. There's some room to not play it up so much, to not praise it so much, to not venerate it as if it's some great and holy thing. And to say that something is underrated isn't to say that it's the best ever. It's just, hey, there's some room to appreciate that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And if something is healthfully rated, we mean, like all things, it is good when we have a relationship to it that moves us forward in a constructive manner.
Yeah.
And so when I hear you say, Instagram, it's overrated, or, things like owning the physical copy of a book, it's overrated. I don't hear it's a bad thing and you should feel guilty if you value it, but rather be open to the possibility that there's room to venerate it a little bit less.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that we can benefit from doing that kind of exercise with, looking at anything from this coffee cup to this pen. Is there room for me to venerate it less? Is there room for me to appreciate it more?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is all perspectival too. I mean, it's, you know, for Josh, it's books. I find books very appropriately rated, you know?
Right, for you. And,
Right,
and it sounds
exactly.
like flippers, you also have them appropriately
There
rated.
is a space for that too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have two more things. I'll just go through them real quick. Vacation's totally overrated for me. I don't like vacation. I really like the life that I have. And so I don't feel the need to escape it. My life feels like a perpetual vacation in many ways. And I could not wait to get back and get to work. Work feels like a vacation to me, too. I was giddy when I started working again. But perhaps a vacation from that is a pause enough to really feel giddy about doing the work. Finally, one last overrated thing. Freebies.
Tchotchkes?
Yes. Ryan and I, back in our corporate days, we would entice potential customers to show up at our store or at a table, at a booth, whatever, by giving them a bunch of free junk. And essentially when I see it now, it's like whether it's like a koozie that holds your beer or Coca-Cola can, whatever it is, or it's a pen that is worth about 3 cents, or
a t-shirt with the company's name on it. It's amazing. Like, that was probably one of the most popular things. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's free clothes.
Yeah.
But like hindsight, I'm like, they really wanted to represent that company, didn't they?
Yeah. And I would be free without it.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's the little play on words there. I don't need your slap bracelet. I don't need your pen. I don't need your koozie. I don't need the corporate branded things to complete me. In fact, they will incomplete me. They will only add the excess clutter to my life. Your freebies are not free because not only do they take up space in my home, but now I have to do something with it. You are now burdening me. So whenever I see the free stuff now, it's essentially like someone saying, here, you get rid of this for me. And as soon as I realize that, no thank you. I'll let it go in advance by not picking it up. Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.